for more insight now on the prince's life and on his impact on the royal family and beyond, we turn to British historian Andrew Roberts and Daisy McAndrew, a journalist and royal commentator. Good morning to both of you. Daisy, let's start with you because, as we've said, again, Prince Philip dying just a few weeks shy of that 100th birthday. What's always been remarkable is sort of the evolution, if you will, of the prince's role in the monarchy, marrying the Queen at 21 as that country was still reeling from World War II. Talk to us a little bit about how his role changed over the decades, Andrew.
Sorry. Yes, well, of course, she was 21, but he was 26, which is also incredibly young. So they both were plunged into this very much together. And that's the way they stayed. It was a remarkable self-supporting act, but also one, of course, that was vital for the Queen in the way that he supported her. And although he did 22,000 solo appearances, he did many more than that, of course, with the Queen. And you have to add those on, really.
Daisy, here's a man who is part of literally generations of this country's history. And so for his role now suddenly gone, how do you think the British people are going to take this in?
I think that's a really good point because, as you said, he's been a part of all of our lives for as long as anybody can remember. And I really do mean anybody. You have to be his age to remember a time in British public life when he wasn't a prominent fixture. And I think that will lead to a lot of people to think about how things are changing. And as Keir was saying at the end of his piece there, to think about the future, to think about the next generation, to realise that this really is the end of a very long period of stability. Obviously, we still have the Queen, but everything that he signifies, everything that he's been through along her side has now come to an end in the way that we knew it. And yes, he's been a very popular figure. He has been a slightly divisive figure. He has spoken out of turn sometimes, but actually I think history will look very fondly on him because he was clearly very capable, full of duty, and somebody who the country and the Queen have relied on for a very long time.
Daisy, everyone loves a good love story, and they've been married for more than 70 years. So what was their partnership like, and how did it transform over the years?
I think the astonishing longevity is obviously just a part of what they've achieved. They managed to run that family from both within as a private family and, of course, their constitutional roles, pretty much without putting a foot wrong. And there aren't many public figures who are in the public's notice for a fraction of the time that they were that can say that they didn't put a foot wrong. Of course, as your pieces were saying, there have been moments of sadness, primarily the annus horribilis, as the Queen once referred to it, when her children were divorcing and so on. But those really were other members of the royal family, putting them in a difficult position. The British public are very, very fond of them, but also of what they signify, of stability, of lack of change. And I think in the world today, where we're finding that so much is changing at such a heady speed, people will now be thinking, what will change now? What will be different when Charles does eventually come to the throne?
Andrew, for so many Americans especially, their understanding of Prince Philip has sort of come over the past few years through The Crown on Netflix, wildly popular, as you know. But apparently that was not an accurate depiction of who he was. Can you talk a little bit about the difference between Prince Philip on the Netflix series and the real Prince Philip?
Oh, yes, they're completely different people. It's very important, I think, for Americans especially to recognise that The Crown is totally fictional. Some people seem to think that it has some bearing on reality. It simply doesn't. He was a loving father. He was welcoming to Princess Diana into the family. He was not the ill-tempered and sometimes rebarbative figure that you see in The Crown. And of course, ultimately, ultimately he was also an absolutely superb consort. He was a real class act when it came to putting his duty to the country before anything else and his love for his wife. So I'm afraid you really must put to one side the entertainment of the Crown and don't treat it as real history.
Andrew Roberts, Daisy McAndrew, a big thanks to both of you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.